Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. In this presentation, we'll discuss the value of building an online connection with customers before they enter your store and how this can help speed up the sales process, generate qualified leads, and increase your sales. The information we've collected is a combination of years of industry experience, customer conversations, and research done by third-party associations. We'll show you how 2020 Ideal Spaces can help you sell anytime, anywhere. The first step to connecting with a consumer is understanding your target buyer and their online shopping and purchasing behavior. Research tells us that millennials are most likely to spend the most on kitchen and bath products, and not surprisingly, they're the same group that prefers to shop online, and the group with the highest expectations in terms of the online shopping and purchasing experience. What does this mean? In short, millennials expect a seamless experience, and they want to do more than transact. They want to be inspired. On top of that, millennials are influencing other generations when it comes to online shopping and purchasing behavior. Everyone is seeking the easiest path to purchase, combined with an engaging and perhaps differentiated experience. Omnichannel shopping is the new expectation of the modern consumer, with seamless transitions through every stage of the buying process. To understand how 2020 Ideal Spaces can help connect you with the consumer, let me explain what 2020 Ideal Spaces is and what it does. Then, we will give you an example user scenario. In a nutshell, 2020 Ideal Spaces is an online consumer-facing space planning tool that promotes traffic to your website. 2020 Ideal Spaces will not only increase traffic, but more important, it will engage web visitors and start them on the path to designing their dream kitchen or bath. Prospects can experiment with designs no matter where they are, and then save them to return to later or share with friends and family via social media to get feedback. When ready, they can connect with one of your designers to finalize plans. So, how does 2020 Ideal Spaces help? From single showroom businesses to larger retailers and manufacturers and those in between, 2020 Ideal Spaces helps turn web traffic into kitchen and bath sales. Capturing customers sooner in the buying journey provides your design and sales teams with a highly qualified lead that includes information about the prospect's needs and preferences. Research has proven that the earlier you engage a prospect in the buyer's journey, the higher the likelihood that you'll close the business. Additionally, the more you know about your client's needs and preferences, the shorter the sales cycle. A shorter sales cycle gives your designers more time to work with more clients and ultimately have more wins. Not only does 2020 Ideal Spaces help you capture and engage leads early in the buying process, but by adding inspiration and engagement, the leads are more likely to be sticky, meaning they're more likely to buy from you rather than one of your competitors. Now more than ever, it is essential to have an effective online strategy and provide your customers with a more seamless shopping experience. The demand is there, and we want to help you capture it. So, how does 2020 Ideal Spaces fit into all of that? 2020 Ideal Spaces may not only increase web traffic, but engage and inspire web visitors and start them on the path to designing their dream space. Those of you familiar with 2020 Design and 2020 Fusion tools know that our renderings are extremely high quality. What if your prospects were able to build high-quality renderings themselves, just like this one? Given the scarcity of qualified designers, wouldn't it be great if prospects were pre-qualified and completed several steps before seeking professional design expertise? How valuable is your time? How long does it typically take for designers to get to this point with the customer? How many appointments, calls, emails with back-and-forth iterations? What if you could reduce that by half, or even by a third? Multiple appointments can lead to a loss of momentum and a loss of interest from the client's perspective. If the process is taking too long, your lead is no longer sticky, and there will be opportunities for your prospect to develop a relationship with a competitor. To demonstrate how 2020 Ideal Spaces can help generate and qualify leads, I'm going to walk you through a day in the life of our friends Steve and Shelley. The couple has been talking about remodeling their kitchen for the last few years, but never seemed to find the time to get started on it. Steve and Shelley's wedding anniversary is coming up, and Steve plans to surprise Shelley with a new kitchen, or at least surprise her with the idea of a new kitchen. Now, before I get into how Steve plans to pull this off, I think it is important to mention that Steve and Shelley are like most of us. They are extremely busy. Steve and Shelley are working parents of school-aged children. They get up early to get the kids off to school, and hopefully there is time to grab a coffee on the way to work. After 8 to 10 hours at work, it's off to pick up the kids from school, the dog from daycare, shuttle them to soccer, cheerleading, karate, mathletics. Finally, the family has dinner time together, and eventually Steve and Shelley send the kids to bed, walk the dog, and have about 5 seconds to themselves before falling into an exhausted sleep and starting all over again the next day. Steve is excited about surprising Shelley, but it will be challenging for him to find the time to design a kitchen. Fortunately, 2020 Ideal Spaces is easy to use, and Steve can work on his design here and there when he has free time throughout his day. Okay, today is the day that Steve is going to start on the anniversary surprise. He's walked the dog, showered and brushed his teeth, kissed Shelley and the kids, and he's out the door. Next stop, his local coffee shop. While enjoying his morning coffee, Steve scrolls through his phone. He remembers the tool he saw on his local dealer's webpage, so he fires it up on his phone. In less than a minute, Steve will complete a representation of a kitchen. Not quite his kitchen yet, but one that does reflect his design preferences, such as colors and finishes, cabinet styles, backsplash, and countertop selections. This is what it looks like when Steve uses 2020 Ideal Spaces on his mobile device. Steve scrolls through some preset images and selects one he feels looks the best. Then, Steve can make changes to styles and colors. First, he plays around with the cabinet colors. He knows Shelley well and believes that she will prefer gray over dark brown or white. Next choice, Steve is going to change the backsplash, and after that, the countertop. So let's recap. Using a mobile device, prospects can be inspired by these preset rooms and visualize how colors, styles, and materials fit together. Prospects can make changes based on their own preferences to doors, pulls, countertops. At any point in this journey, should the customer prefer, they can simply save and connect with their local designer, salesperson, showroom. Finally, from the retailer's showroom perspective, these presets allow you to showcase your products without requiring Steve to come into the store. Think of the web as just another entryway into the showroom. 2020 Ideal Spaces provides more than a list of products and a shopping cart. The Inspire module of Ideal Spaces is your virtual showroom. Okay, so now that Steve has made it this far, it's time to go to work. He saves his work and will pick it up again later in the day. Steve is now at work and taking a lunch break. After finishing a sandwich at his desk, he opens 2020 Ideal Spaces on his computer and starts again where he left off. Steve is now using the Auto Design tool, which will ask him a series of questions to help him create a kitchen that is uniquely his, based on the inspirational preferences he chose when scrolling through earlier at the coffee shop. I would like to point out that Auto Design is what differentiates 2020 Ideal Spaces from other visualization and design tools. Everything we are about to see is generated by the system, and these are all choices that Steve makes by simply choosing and clicking. Steve does not need to create things from scratch, nor does he need to understand things like cabinet zones. The system already has rules in place for that. First, the system is going to ask Steve about his appliance choices. So Steve has a few choices of appliance types. As you can see, he's clicking on them. There's a drop-down which enables him to choose what he is looking for, such as a double oven and cook surfaces. Additionally, the tool wants to know the general shape of his kitchen. For example, here he has chosen to include an island. The next step entails entering his room dimensions, which he remembered to bring from home. The system will then ask Steve for the location of his doors and windows within the room. He can easily place these in the room and change dimensions if needed. Now, the system is going to ask Steve to choose some options with respect to cabinet locations. Steve can simply choose from the system's suggestions, and these choices can be adjusted within certain parameters or rules. As Steve is not a professional designer, we have added intelligence to the system to prevent Steve from getting into trouble by placing things where they should not go. The next step is the appliance location section, which is color-coded. Again, Steve makes choices from the options generated by the system. Once the appliances are in the appropriate spots, Steve's design is almost ready. Steve cannot wait to show Shelley what he's accomplished so far and include her in the fun. Hopefully, if all goes to plan, they'll have a brand new kitchen in time for their anniversary. For now, he really needs to get back to work. Back home, the dishes are done, kids are in bed, and the dog is in bed with the kids. Finally, after a few minutes to themselves, Steve says, "I have a surprise for you, Shelley. Fire up the laptop and let me show you. If you agree, this can be our anniversary gift to each other this year." Now, for you folks out there that have been doing this for a while, you know that this is a crucial moment in this couple's relationship. Steve is nervous to find out what Shelley will think of his design, not to mention the gift idea. Shelley is not only thrilled that Steve has chosen a new kitchen as their anniversary gift, but she loves his design. Of course, with a few minor tweaks, it'll be perfect. Shelley begins to personalize the design. She wants to make a few minor changes and add a few details. Shelley is not sure about the refrigerator, so she is going to change it to a different model in stainless steel. Next, she is looking at the cabinet door styles and colors. Shelley prefers the shaker door style, which is very popular. Although Shelley likes the gray, she wants to see the cabinets in navy blue, which is also trending at the moment. Shelley saves these changes as an alternative design so that she does not lose the design that Steve started. Maybe she will share both designs with her social network and let her friends and family vote on their favorite design. Next, Shelley chooses some lighting. A pendant over the island is an absolute must-have. Let's see how that looks. Okay, why not add a few feminine touches like a plant or even a small bouquet of flowers? Next, Shelley clicks on the different views to see her kitchen from every angle. Once she is happy, Shelley saves the design and then has a quick look of the item list to make sure her choices are captured and still within budget. Shelley loves the kitchen designs and especially loves that she and Steve designed them together. She can't wait to share everything with her friends and family, so she posts images of both designs on her favorite social network. She immediately begins receiving positive feedback, and of course, Steve is receiving rave reviews and kudos for his part in the surprise. Not to be outdone, Shelley's sister Melissa wants to redesign her kitchen and is now asking about the tool she and Steve used to create their design. So clearly, this type of customer engagement leads to referral opportunities as well. After a significant amount of social validation, Shelley is more than ready to book time with a professional designer. Fortunately, Shelley can book an appointment directly through 2020 Ideal Spaces. We pick up the story at Shelley and Steve's design consultation with Mary. Mary is so excited about the head start and cannot wait to jump right in. The appointment request button Shelley used in 2020 Ideal Spaces automatically sent a digital copy of everything Mary needed to know for the initial meeting and design review. The packet of information includes 2D and 3D renderings, project summaries, item lists, floor plans, and different elevations. All of this gave Mary a huge start on the design. She was able to quickly validate Steve and Shelley's favorite version and even made great suggestions that Steve and Shelley had not considered. They now have their final design. So let's go back and look at our online strategy goals. It should be clear after listening to Steve and Shelley's story that 2020 Ideal Spaces not only checks the boxes, but significantly and positively impacts each of these goals. Our customers are experiencing great success and significant ROI from 2020 Ideal Spaces. Most consider 2020 Ideal Spaces an essential part of their overall online strategy. That wraps up our presentation. Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in learning more about how you can implement 2020 Ideal Spaces on your website, contact us through our website at 2020spaces.com/2020 Ideal Spaces.